One, two. Yay, we work. That's the crack, everybody. Let's gotta watch this now. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna switch on the audio. Gotta love a good space launch.
Dragon and Falcon
Am
9
I
together have
getting
years of operational
my chat is
experience, or
live?
what we refer to
Or your
as
party,
flight
your voice is live?
heritage. As I mentioned earlier, SpaceX has successfully completed 21 flights of Dragon to and from orbit since 2010, including 20 trips to the International Space Station. Not only have we conducted thousands of hours of testing, we've also enhanced and added a number of safety features to Dragon.
It's up. It's up.
See that? You're sucking on your phone.
Yeah, I'm allowed to suck on my phone. I can suck on my phone if I want to. I've got like fucking 4 or 5 phones.
It's so weird. Yeah. It's so weird. I'm sitting here watching you, not say anything, but you're talking in my ear. Oh, there I am.
Copy out.
And that again right there, that's the crew talking to the core here in Hawthorne, California, who's going to be talking to them throughout their ascent uphill today. So they were just doing a quick checkout.
I'm delusional at this point.
They were able to hear it. Sounds like
that
everything's
whole
good, so
sleep
still no
deprivation
issues
thing.
with Falcon or Dragon.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back to what we were talking through as we're describing these systems. A lot of what SpaceX did with Cargo Dragon has been leveraged into this Crew Dragon. The vehicle is designed to be fully autonomous.
We don't need music.
You do.
Itself.
Okay, well then here, let me play you some music.
No, don't play me music.
Your
Your taste in music is shit.
Your shit.
Many of the other enhancements
No, I leave the
towards
music off.
SpaceX's goal of reusability and less refurbishment time between missions. So let's take a closer look at some of these advancements.
Standing at almost 27 feet tall from bottom of the trunk.
Is that all it is? 27 foot tall.
Composed of two main elements.
That's not
we have the capsule up top,
that big when you think about it.
The crew and any pressurized cargo, and then an unpressurized section known as the trunk on the bottom.
And the nose cone at the top of the capsule protects the docking system as well as the guidance navigation control system, or what we call GNC. The nose cone opens for docking and remains attached to the Crew Dragon spacecraft, unlike the previous version of Dragon, and that helps towards our reusability
Dragon
efforts.
SpaceX.
Reusability.
T-minus 1 hour. You are go for section 6 when ready.
T-minus 1 hour. I'm gonna have to come up with a lot of shit talk in between.
Yep, we got a lot of time to kill.
So the crew just has a couple checks, and when they are ready for launch, we're going to hear them report to the core that they are go for launch.
Of course they're ready for launch. How are they not going to be ready for launch?
They've been sitting in there for like the last hour.
Yeah, it's like, come on, like, get the fuck.
On the left-hand screen there,
They've
where it's
plugged their umbilical cords in,
Yeah.
tested all that out. Let's go.
Like, they have all those dashboards there, and it looks all fancy with touch screens and all that, right? But let's fucking face it, like, they're not flying anything. You know? It's all computers.
No,
It's all
not a damn
fucking
thing.
computers.
Thermal control system into space.
They're just there. I know it looks fancy that they're pressing buttons, but like he's probably just like going, "What's the weather?" That's all he's probably fucking actually touching, you know.
He's probably thinking, "Oh, please don't let this thing blow up."
And
Yeah,
you heard
please
that
don't let me
call
die.
out right
Copy
there.
for launch. Next up will be the go no go.
I don't know if they
45.
if they have that much of a personality because normally they kind of put them on. So they're gonna retract the things now.
You're hearing it live from
I
the
believe.
This is amazing, very exciting.
Oh, there we
The
go.
the spacecraft is designed to accommodate up to 7 crew members with modular seats that can be
Where's
removed
the fucking,
and replaced
schedule
by
on this
additional
one?
cargo. The seats are made of carbon fiber and will be custom sized for any
That's a
crew
very
members
scientific
flying
term
on
you got
board.
going on.
What?
The things.
The thing. Yeah, the thing, and then the thingamajig.
Touchscreen displays, and that just again allows the crew to
And
operate
the
vehicle
little
and fly
holdy uppy
manually,
majigger.
but also
Yeah,
look
the
at
little
all the
exactly.
procedures, relative position over the Earth, the space station,
What
any
whatchamacallit.
alarms, alerts, anything that they could possibly want to do on Dragon.
So
is
where
through
are
those
we
touchscreens.
now? Right.
And
So
lastly, our Super Draco launch escape system is a key safety feature
right.
of
So
Crew Dragon,
in
giving the crew the ability to
12
safely
minutes,
escape from the time of launch all
the
the way to orbit.
SpaceX launch director will verify go.
And that
Or no
launch
go.
escape system was put into work a little bit
That's
earlier
basically
this
what's
year
gonna
in
happen.
that in-flight abort test.
Like they're
As we
waiting
look
for
to the
a
future
reason
beyond
to
this test flight, the first
not go.
operational SpaceX crewed mission for NASA will be a little bit later this year.
Never
after Bob
fear
and
your
Doug
first
come home.
subscriber is here. I didn't
NASA
have my chat
astronauts
up for
Mike
that.
Hopkins, Victor Glover, and
putz.
Shannon
I
Walker
know, I have it
and
up now,
Suichi
though. It's all-
Higuchi
it's all
of the
good, it's all
Japan
good.
Aerospace
It's up now.
Exploration Agency, or JAXA, were chosen to support this mission being called Crew 1.
But today, Doug Hurley is the spacecraft commander for this mission. He previously flew on 2 space shuttle missions as the pilot on STS-127 and STS-135, which was the final space shuttle flight. Here's a closer look at Doug Hurley.
May as well just watch your stream
Oh, there we
instead
go.
of the YouTube.
Criteria.
Get your fingers out of your face.
He's
God's sake.
go fuck yourself.
Confirm no violation of launch
How about that?
criteria. We are tracking one issue.
Right, he's actually given the go to launch.
And I think we'll need to track that all the way down to launch to clear that. This polls also go for arming and launch escape system, and go for.
Launch escape system armed.
And does it see on countdown?
I still can't believe though that you actually never seen the fucking rockets land. Like it just looks fucking awesome. It really fucking does. Like
We're monitoring the
Well,
weather.
I'm looking forward to it.
We're also looking.
Although it
at
probably won't be
the
landing until
watch that
tomorrow, right?
on a hydraulic
no,
system
Jesus
on
no.
right
The rockets right. So
come up
from
at
the time it
8,
from the time the rockets start
and we'll be able
to the
verify
time
the
the
carrier.
rockets land back on Earth
This time,
is
everything
9
is
minutes and
nominal,
22 seconds.
but watching that
Really?
Yeah, that's how that's how fast it is.
on Falcon 9 or ground systems.
Jesus.
Yeah. Which is pretty fucking nuts, like.
Yeah.
Now that's if they get their maths right, which sometimes.
Well,
Stage 2
well,
armament bleed is complete.
0 or a 1. You never know. Where's the volume on your Twitch stream?
Oh, hang on. Actually, the volume is really low. There we go.
You are
That-
not helpful.
No. No, I actually think the sound is actually cut out. It has. The sound is cut out. Not on fucking on me on the feed. Fucking NASA. You know they can launch a man into space, but they can't get a fucking
Well, that
online
remains to
stream
be
going.
seen.
Yeah, well,
Tinfoil hat theories. 1969 was staged, remember?
oh man, it wasn't staged. There we go. Sound's back.
All right, we just crossed the 55-minute mark away from launch. Sitting right next to Doug Hurley, who's closest to your screen, is NASA
shut up.
astronaut Bob Behnken. He is the Joint Operations Commander for Demo 2, and Behnken previously flew on 2 space
I've
shuttle
never
missions,
seen an astronaut with
STS-123
glasses.
and STS-130, and also served a
Those are
tour
just
as
reading
Chief of the
glasses. He'll take
Astronaut
those
Office.
off
So here's a
before
little
he
bit more
puts his
about the
shield
man
on.
who said testing out a brand new spacecraft is an astronaut's dream.
When you go through the launch day preparations, there's a lot of moments
They'd be
that kind of
discriminatory
stand
not
out
to
to you.
keep an
One
astronaut
is
with
the
glass.
kind of the celebratory piece of it, which is that you're walking out of the suit up room and
They're all like
getting in the
50-something.
vehicle that's going to take you to the launch pad. When you close the
Yeah.
hatch, that's really when Doug and I are in the vehicle, and it's our vehicle, and we're really in control of the mission at that point.
Test pilots, their task proved that man could fly into orbit around the Earth and return live and well to talk about it.
I still can't believe those
There's
space
always
suits.
a balance of managing risk
They're
as
pretty
you go
fucking
forward
crazy.
to execute a test point and figuring out a way to collect the
They
data.
look like a
We hear a
super duper
sound.
tracksuit.
Okay, is that sound an expected sound? Or we see
Cool,
a light?
though, it's
is
the
that
future.
light an expected light?
Yeah.
You know,
what's the
yeah,
source
are
of
those-
it? Does
are
it
those
sync up with
iPads, or
something
are
else
those
that's
just
going
little
on or
pads of
not?
paper?
So trying to dissect
On their,
all of
like,
that.
thighs?
They're
real time in
actually
your
not
head
even
is,
pads of paper. If I remember correctly,
a lot
they're
of
actually
things
whiteboards
happen like that on launching of a vehicle.
From St.
of some
Anne,
description
Missouri,
that
he
they
is
can't
an
be
Air
clean.
Force
The last time you were in
colonel and
space?
flight test engineer.
Yeah, from
He
the last
flew
time,
Space
yeah.
Shuttle Endeavour
Fucking
twice.
dick.
Introducing NASA astronaut Bob Behnken.
My career at NASA has kind of spanned a couple
Like-
of decades at this point. I arrived with
Don't
the
really
class
mean
of
to be mean and all
2000,
that, like, but like, I
went through
couldn't
the
really
training
give a shit
program, primarily
about
focused
the
on the space
thing.
shuttle
Like,
and
if
the
you could just
International Space
fast
Station,
forward
learning
it, like,
those
to the
systems, having
firework,
launched a couple times
that'd
on
be fucking
vehicles.
good.
The
Somebody just
second
needs to
time was
accidentally sit
definitely
on that
different
red
than the
launch
first
button.
time. you can feel a little bit guilty of, hey, should I study one more thing? Is there one more piece of information I should get? Am I really prepared or not? So that's definitely different between where I was on my first flight and where I'm at right now. It's been really interesting, I think, for both my wife and I to have gone through the process of seeing each other.
So this is the guy who has.
I've seen her take that
This
risk
is the guy
and had
who
it be in
has
front of her, and,
the wife.
I've done that to her, and there's just something different about watching a rocket launch when there are people on board. You feel a little bit differently about the pit of your stomach, and I can only tell you it's multiplied
they played this like 2 hours
when
ago.
it's somebody that you know.
Yeah, but like,
and then somebody,
this stream has been going 4.5 hours, maybe.
More.
So, in fairness, they have to kind of fill it like with shit.
Everything that Bob
they're just
put
running
into this
reruns
over
like
the
you
last
are.
5 years.
Yeah,
the dedication
running
that
reruns
he's
like
shown,
I am.
the perseverance
Got it in fucking
is
one.
pretty special for both of us, though. The way
Except
our
theirs
minds
is
work,
more
it
professionally
won't be
produced.
until sort of the mission is complete that you have really a chance to savor it and celebrate it. This is a huge accomplishment for an Air Force flight test engineer to be part of the demonstration mission of a brand new vehicle. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yes.
Without a partner that
killed
has
all
that same
of 8 minutes.
appreciation, I think it can be challenging
Listen,
for some
it's
folks.
not about killing,
There's
right?
a
You
lot
have
of
to.
work and a lot of
It's
time
about
that
right.
takes away from family.
Sorry, filling.
That,
We
that
filled
my spouse
8
appreciates, and I
minutes.
love her for that.
No, we don't. We don't have to fill anything.
Really, my role on the
We can
Demo
just
2
this
mission
does
is
it for
to
us.
make sure
But
that we get this vehicle.
it's about the
tested
anticipation.
and
Have you never watched a
evaluated so that we can
live
move on to more
spaceship?
No,
operational
actually, I've never
missions
done
at
that.
the International
Wow.
Space Station.
It's about the
We've got a lot of
anticipation. The
objectives,
last
on
5
board
minutes,
the
really
vehicle that we
exciting.
need to
They're
accomplish
doing all the
to
different,
really
like
make
go,
sure that
no
it's,
go,
good to go.
you
We'll
know,
make sure all those
all this
systems are
type of
working,
shit.
During the test flight,
And then
so
it
that the
starts,
future
and then the
missions,
rockets go, and,
we'll have them available,
and everyone's
even if they
cheered.
don't plan to
And there's a little
utilize them.
timer and little altitude
Through
thing, and
years of the
you know when
NASA
something's gonna
team,
happen.
I'm helping to share that experience and teaching
You're
them the
very
lessons
handy
that
talker.
we've learned by going through this.
I'm
Now
what?
there's another capability
very
in the
handy
U.S.
talker.
besides NASA
Handy
to
talker.
operate something
While
of
you're
this
talking.
magnitude.
Oh no, that's because I'm explaining.
When is
When
the
I'm
last
explaining,
time
the
humans
hands go,
launched on a
"Wah!"
new vehicle? Certainly on the American side, it's
It's like when I'm when I'm in work, it's the exact
Now
same.
we're
It's like,
transitioning
so let me tell you about my great idea, and
development.
everyone stands
It's
back
a
in case
great
they get like
time
bitch
from
slapped by a
a
hand.
space exploration time frame just to see
You
all
know.
that happening, and it's because of this nurturing of the environment.
Because words
being
aren't
able to
good
pull
enough.
in a wider
Exactly.
group of people who can contribute.
Your hands are
towards,
used to
human spaceflight.
accentuate,
It's a
you
super
know?
cool time. On a
It's all
deeply
about
personal, level, I'm
shit I
really
learned
excited
years ago,
that
but
my
like
son
it's all
is get to get
it's
a
all
chance to
about
see me, launch into
subconscious
space. Being an astronaut has
communication
been
and
a little
body
bit of
language
a-
and
an
stuff like that, like, you know.
abstraction thing for
So when
him
you're
'cause he's seen me
talking
do
like
it in
this,
old videos,
you know, you're
but he
showing that you're
hasn't
actually
seen me do
open
it
and you're
for
being
real, and so I'm
forward and this
excited
type
for
of
him
stuff.
to see,
Whereas if I'm
this
talking
launch.
with my arms folded,
I
I'm
want to thank the
showing that
entire
either I'm not
commercial program
interested
team
or I'm
that's
defensive.
worked
and-
together to get to this
all that
point where
kind of
we've
shit.
got vehicles in the launch
Plus,
pad
I'm just a
ready to head
handy
to the
person.
International Space Station.
Yeah, now wait for the last 5 minutes, and Chinese
We're
will
just
launch an
over
EMP
49 and a half minutes
pulse
away
out
from
from
launch
their
of the
puppet
Falcon 9
government
carrying
here in
Dragon to the
Canada.
space station. Right now, the launch director and the launch team are preparing for a readiness for launch poll. In this poll, the 13 members of the launch team will electronically indicate a go for launch. This is also the go for propellant load. Now, we're going to hear that in a couple of minutes, so while we wait,
We're going to hear
we
that
are
in
tracking
4
you
minutes
watching from
exactly.
all over the
4
country.
minutes exactly.
We're seeing large
Because
numbers
they do it
of
at
you
T minus
logging on or
45.
tuning in from coast to coast, as well as around the world. We want to know, is this
Technically,
your
it
first
wasn't
time
4 minutes.
watching
It's
a launch
4 minutes
live?
exactly now.
If
Yeah,
not,
well,
how many
whatever.
have you seen before? Tell us using the hashtag
See, this is why
Launch
you aren't on the
America
launch team, because
from
your
your
numbers
favorite
are off.
social media website.
Yeah,
As
like,
for me,
but
this
then
is
again, it's
the
like
first
you're
one
off
I've
a
seen
little
a
bit.
lot, but
yeah,
everyone
but
is
it'd be like
excited.
kind of like, you know,
Now coming up, we're going
it'd
to
be kind of like, you know, go for launch,
into
not go for
a
lunch. Ah, it'll be
readiness
grand.
poll, as I
You
mentioned.
know, no, like, is
Currently
it good or is it
right
not good?
now,
I don't know.
on
It'll be
other
fine.
notes,
Just
the
come.
SpaceX launch director is
You know,
checking
but
to
next
verify
person.
It'll be grand.
The
Yeah,
Dragon
yeah.
team is ready,
I
and that the
think it's
NASA
all right. I'm
launch
outside having
management
a
team
smoke.
is ready.
Give us a minute.
They'll come back
You know.
at about T minus 47 minutes with instructions to the SpaceX
Who's been looking at
Falcon
the screen
9
for the
team
last half an hour? I don't
to
fucking know.
make their final assessments. Then
I was
they
having
log into
one
the
smoke.
procedure.
Yeah,
It's
I was
not
having one
different than the
smoke,
old
then
days
Bob
where
came
you
along,
would
had
hear
a smoke
go,
with Bob,
go,
then
you
Mary
know,
came
position by
along,
position,
and
all
yeah,
up and down the row.
whatever.
In this electronic age, everybody just clicks on whether to go or no go. The launch director will then, at T-minus 45 minutes, summarize the end of the poll
But
and will then provide instructions for the team.
I get like it's an electronic age and they just press a button now to say go or no go. But there's no drama in that. You know, there's no drama in that. The drama has to be go, no go, go. You know, Capcom, go. You know.
Now, currently, we are continuing to monitor the weather. The weather is still.
Do you know what Capcom stands for?
It is improving. We're looking at one cell between the radar and the pad.
Great video game.
We're keeping our fingers crossed that conditions will improve.
Capcom stands for Capsule Communication.
15 minutes.
Right on.
So it looks like we're going to be good to begin propellant load once we hear the polls, but we still have to get the get the range green, so that we can actually do the launch in just 47 minutes from now. Let's listen to Countdown Net for a moment.
Countdown Net.
Well, 2 minutes.
Woo.
We'll know whether we're going or no going. Hey, put the cap back on that Coke. You don't need that shit.
All right, ma'am. If it's like no go, it'd be just like, well, this is the most anticlimactic fucking stream ever. It's like, all right, well, that can fuck off. To be fair.
Well, isn't it funny how there happens to be a tropical storm pushing inland nearby?
Yeah, like their next window, if they don't actually go today, their next window is Sunday, at 3:30 p.m. Yankee time. So I don't know what that is.
Probably
right now, coming up on 46 minutes, 10 seconds before launch. Didn't hear any significant chatter coming over Countdown 1.
Yes, Launch Director into Countdown Net. Poll is complete, and we have a go to proceed with propellant.
We have go! We have a go! It's going! It's gonna go!
Launch control, proceed with swing into crew arm.
Here you go, there goes the crew arm.
Arming crew arm movement for T-minus 45 minutes. Thank you, Launch Control.
So they're actually 3 minutes ahead of schedule because actually
the reminder
crew arm
on hold and launch escape protocol. For non-urgent no-go conditions, brief CE or LD, and it will approve aborting the launch auto sequence and proceed to launch abort. For urgent issues affecting the safety of the operation, operator shall call hold on the Countdown Net. Launch control will abort the launch auto sequence immediately and proceed into the launch abort auto sequence.
Oh, nobody ever watches on Mixer.
Whether structural breakup or fires imminent or occurring.
Pretty much.
Manual escape
Only
flight
the cool
rules.
kids use Twitch.
Remainder on fire alarm instructions.
To be honest, I don't even know why I stream to Mixer, because it's more hassle than it's worth.
Briefed will remain at their post while the alarm is evaluated. In the event that personal safety is threatened, we will evacuate to the south-facing emergency.
No, it's FOMO. It's
directly
actually FOMO.
outside.
You know.
One final reminder.
Total fear of missing
arming the launch escape system momentarily. Need all personnel please stay in your seats from now through orbit insertion and Dragon separation from the second stage.
No, I fucking haven't. I've been busy trying to fix my fucking thing. I've been like, you seen
you've
the
heard
cool
Mike
little
Taylor,
funky
the SpaceX launch director, give instructions to the team.
Cool little Twitch
We've also
fucking
just heard the call.
stream
The
thing
crew
that's working
access
there.
arm
Or should
retraction
be
is
working. I don't know if
underway.
it's still working.
Great view from the camera inside the White Room.
Oh, there
As
goes
we
the arm.
see the arm moving away from the Dragon capsule. One of the major events necessary to get down to T0. The next one coming up will be arming of the escape system on the Dragon capsule.
See, it's all about the anticipation, because I know it's only like the arm moving backwards, but that's not the point, you know? The point is it's happening. It's
now
fucking
currently,
happening.
Falcon 9's looking good, Dragon's looking good. The range continues to be go for launch in terms of the clearance around the launch pad, both the air and the sea space. Looking at the flight corridor.
This is probably the bit where the astronauts are like, oh shit, this is actually happening. You know, there's actually literally no going back.
And we just continue to monitor the weather.
I'm properly like,
our team is getting constant updates. We're monitoring
no, because they would tell,
weather,
no, because the communications would say internally, you know.
Around the launch site, looking to make sure that we can get everything into the green position. The one that we're mostly looking at right now is how much rain we're going to get between now and liftoff. Whether it's just going to be mild precipitation that's within the rules for loading propellant, that's what the expectation is. But we're going to continue to watch that. So fingers crossed. But right now, coming up, it's T-minus 43 minutes, 18 seconds and counting. Everything but the weather's go, and the weather is trending in the right direction. So we've got our fingers crossed here. At this time, we're going to send it back over to Kennedy Space Center as the action is picking up on the launch pad.
Have I actually made you a mod on this? I know I made you a VIP,
John I. Now that countdown clock is continuing to tick, and we are 42 minutes and 46 seconds away from launch. Now, as you just saw, the crew arm retracted. That is the last major visual milestone before liftoff.
No,
and we should be hearing out on the net soon confirmation that the launch escape system is armed. When that happens, all 8 of the Super Draco throttle valves are opened, which means that those engines can
hands away from your face.
7. How about you shut the fuck up?
So that means those 8 throttle valves are opened, and if those Super Dracos needed to fire in order for Dragon to escape off of the pad, they
now have access to this. Hang on, I'll send.
And so things running just a little bit ahead of schedule right now.
It's a different link. You can like ban people and see who's not chatting.
Sharpen your swords.
Yeah. There. If you click on that, you have a different view.
Now, we just saw the crew access arm retract just a minute ago. We saw NASA astronauts Doug Hurley.
7.2, our visors are closed, and we're arming the launch escape system.
I don't even know.
So we just heard the astronauts confirm that they are about to launch, or excuse me, arm the launch escape system. That happens just before fueling begins, which we expect to happen in just a couple of minutes.
10 seconds.
We saw Bob and Doug suit up a little over 3 hours ago.
It slows down
then we watched them drive out to Launch Complex 39A.
Oh, is that what that is?
They were assisted by the SpaceX ground team with Crew Dragon ingress. That happened a little before 2 o'clock this afternoon. And then we saw the spacecraft hatch close.
Hang on.
And again, just a minute ago, we saw the crew access arm retract. We just heard that the crew armed the launch escape system. And in just a few minutes, we are going to hear the call that they have started propellant loading.
SpaceX launch?
Yeah.
See how it was just rolling by super quick?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, that was a bit crazy.
Well, you're going to need something like that for this
launch
to kick
escape
in.
system
But I'll turn it on anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because the last 5 minutes, you're telling me it's super exciting.
So we just heard that verification that the launch escape system is armed.
I use a different app to read the chat, like, because it's like really big text, because I'm blind and shit, so I can see
Even
it.
with your glasses.
Well, no, I mean I can see the screen and I can see shit. I am old. It's just I've spent too many years.
And we are going to send it over to Hawthorne
your man
to take us through prop
loading. Spank your monkey too much to go blind.
Really? Okay.
From the parachutes to the launch escape system, SpaceX has designed Crew Dragon and Falcon 9 to be the safest launch vehicle ever flown. And joining us today, we have SpaceX's Nick Picone, who was our mission manager for our in-flight abort mission earlier this year and currently works on the Starlink team. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
It fucking better be.
Hey, Jesse. I'm here at the Launch and Landing Recovery Center with the recovery team.
The shuttles are great. The shuttles,
yeah, well, I mean, they were.
Awesome. Can you tell us more about the critical safety features on this new version of Dragon?
Sure. So Dragon 2 was designed with long-term reuse and reliability in mind. So fundamentally, there are multiple layers of redundancy to any of the failure modes that we could conceive of, that NASA could conceive of when we were working to design and test this vehicle over the past few years. But in the event that we encounter an unforeseen failure mode, or multiple failures which push us outside of our design space, Dragon also has backup systems and operational controls intended to keep Bob and Doug safe. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it today, but the launch escape system is the primary backup system that we have from the moment that the vehicle is here on being fueled all the way up until orbital insertion.
Jets.
At a high level, the launch escape system, in the event of a major Falcon anomaly or emergency, will terminate Falcon thrust, separate Dragon from Falcon, and it'll use Dragon's 8 Super Draco engines to quickly pull the vehicle away from any kind of Falcon
wants them
anomaly.
to fly until 2030.
And you talked a lot about the launch escape system. How exactly is that activated? Is it autonomous?
How old are the aircraft?
Is it manually activated?
By 2030, they'll be 60 years old.
Definitely. So for this system to work as designed, you have to remember that the vehicle could be flying at
kind of crazy thing is there's a lot of aircraft out there that are kind of like, you know, 40, 50 years old.
Very low chance of false positives.
Well, maybe 30 years old, but like they do have to get refurbished every 15,000 hours of flight.
But 50,
looking for a normal vehicle dynamics, lots of communication between
well, that's true.
systems,
yeah,
or manual commanding.
That's a problem. No parts is a problem.
We've heard a lot from today.
Like, years ago, I worked in ICT support, right?
And Bob and Doug
I worked in an aircraft hangar, actually, where the aircraft engineers were actually retrofitting the planes. I actually remember watching an aircraft engineer having finished putting back together an engine, having 3 screws left over, and he genuinely had a serious conversation with his colleague, kind of going, will we just put them to the side, or will we disassemble it and find where the screws were?
Definitely.
That was a genuine conversation, yeah. You know, now, for the record, they did actually take it apart and find where the screws are, but
that's probably the best choice.
You know, but at the same time, I was like, will we not?
For folks who didn't get a chance to see it, the vehicle followed a normal crew launch trajectory, about a minute and a half into flight. We had Dragon autonomously trigger the launch escape system based on a reconfiguration.
I know,
of those triggers.
just consider it. It's just considering it is wrong. Like. Do I have a what? Do I have a
continued through flight, had successful parachute deployment and splashdown. And we did see Falcon rather spectacularly.
We're down to 36 minutes.
About 10 seconds after
36
separation.
minutes.
It's just flying by.
It's important to recognize that all of that happens from
hopefully that's
not
the only thing that fucking flies by.
Yeah, they've probably got all your viewers probably
yeah, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us and talking through those details with us.
I mean, they can watch it on YouTube
today.
without like fucking
So we're gonna send it back to
whatever.
KSC with Lauren.
That makes it interesting.
Thank you, Jesse. We are about a minute and a half away from propellant load. At T-minus 35 minutes, we should hear the call out on the nets that propellant load has started.
It does, doesn't it?
So that's about a minute and 13 seconds away.
Oh, no, it's been pulled away significantly.
Hey, Marie and Lauren, I am getting goosebumps over here. This is an exciting moment. When I was sitting in the vehicle, when we retracted everything, when all the prop was getting loaded up, I was just going through my crew notebook. I was thinking about, you know, what my first step would be if there was a malfunction, because usually everything goes nominally when you fly to space, but you have to think about the things that you have to take care of. You know, the first.
I did mute my mic.
And on my mission, I was calling.
I muted the stream mic. I just didn't mute my headset mic.
Lost an engine. Where will we go next? When the different abort calls around the country and around the world. So I think that's what those guys are probably thinking about now, and just really getting ready for this mission to go off.
Absolutely, and we're just now about 20 seconds from when we expect propellant loading to start. Again, that's fueling of the rocket.
Wow, is that what propellant means? Wow.
All right, we're getting close. We should hear that call out any second now on the nets. So let's listen in.
Propellant load has started.
Fantastic. So
bang on. You're back on time, because that's exactly now when they're going to get really specific, because that's T-minus 35.
And yeah, liquid oxygen and RP1, which is our rocket grade kerosene. So now that we are 34 minutes and 42 seconds away from the first launch of astronauts into orbit from American soil since 2011,
that is such a
we know that the launch escape system is armed, which happened just before fueling. Dragon prop load happened weeks ago, actually just a few miles down the road.
The reason why it looks weird like that is
and
because
those propellants, which are MMH or monomethyl hydrogen,
the rocket actually is flat,
and
then it's lifted up.
Or nitrogen tetroxide, that's our oxidizer. Those not only feed the Draco engines that propel Dragon on orbit, but they also supply those 8 Super Draco engines of the launch escape system. So I have one right here, a little model.
That looks like a dildo.
Oh, doesn't come off the stand.
Actually, it looks more like a bit of a butt plug.
I was just going to say it when
so as you can see, the Dragon is actually broken up into 4 quads, and each quad has 2 of the Super Draco engines for a total of 8 of them. And as I mentioned, they are
now we could voice over this commentator.
MMH, and is their oxidizer. Now most abort systems from past space vehicles.
Like she probably has like gone to college for like 50 years to just have this opportunity to actually explain what this is, and we're just calling it a butt plug.
On top. And if they
it's not very.
That escape tower would have
like,
to jettison
no,
itself
just
from
no.
the vehicle.
It's not. That's not what it is.
To lift the vehicle
they're just
off
journalists.
of the rocket. Well, Dragon is a little bit different in that its escape system is actually integrated into the vehicle, and that's great for a couple of reasons. One less thing you have to jettison on a nominal flight. And
She's
so
probably
they're
PR
pretty
though,
dormant,
for sure.
just those throttle valves open
Oh,
unless
yeah.
they're used, and hopefully they never have to be.
So,
And
yeah,
I
glorified
mean, the
journalist.
other thing that offers you is the ability to escape from the pad all the way to
You're
orbit.
smart, but you're not smart
Because
enough
if
for
you jettisoned
NASA.
your
So
escape system prior to that, you couldn't.
go on into that TV studio there, and you know.
That's a little Dragon there.
Again,
All right.
new era, much safer design.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for walking us through that, Lauren. Again,
Play with that
the launch
butt plug.
escape system is armed. That protects Bob and Doug,
So,
that if something
and then
were
it's
to
off
go
screen,
wrong,
and
they
she's
can
like,
shoot off
about
the pad away from the rocket
that much
and
goes up.
parachute to safety in the ocean. That is such a crucial safety capability. And so now we want to go over to Hawthorne for an operational update with John.
Thanks, Marie. We are counting down those final minutes. Everything is still looking good on the Falcon 9 and the Dragon vehicles for an on-time launch.
Nope,
but
the video
weather
froze.
is trending the wrong way right now.
No, I don't think
We're
it's
keeping our
frozen.
ears
It's just-
open in case we hear that the weather is going to be no-go for the rest of the count. Right now, we are counting down at T-minus
no, they're
32
good.
minutes.
Yeah, it's just the feed is a
Falcon
bit
9
weird.
did begin
Or
propellant load at
the actual
T-minus
feed I'm
35
watching is a
minutes,
bit
right
weird.
on time. The propellants we use on Falcon 9 are a fuel, which is rocket-grade kerosene, also called RP1, refined petroleum. We use an oxidizer, and that's the super chilled liquid oxygen, or LOX as we call it.
Locks.
Those two propellants with
As in
come
Goldilocks.
together, but they don't light.
I can't
so we
wait
need
to
an
see,
ignition source
like,
to
the-
complete the fire triangle.
What is
For
it, like
this,
ion
Falcon 9
propulsion?
uses a fluid called T-tub. You
Ion.
might see that just before first stage
Yeah,
ignition,
like Star
or maybe
Trek.
later in the second stage ignition. You get a green color.
I think they have that already, actually, for small
and that
probes.
ignites the main engines,
I believe.
right before the
Could be wrong,
rocket
though.
takes off or the second stage
I got
engine
tea there.
lights. Now,
I got tea
currently
and a
in
cookie.
the fueling, RP1 fuel is about 10% full on the first stage.
10%?
That's the bottom
What did you do
two-thirds of
to
the
be a good
stack
boy
of the
today?
vehicle you can see on the left.
Basically,
The
I
first
whined
stage
like a
is that
bitch
long
until
white
she made
cylinder
more
at the
cookies.
bottom, plus that black cylinder called the
It
inner
worked.
stage. That's the entire
Back in a
first
minute.
stage that we're loading with LOX and RP1 kerosene. That's the part that comes back to Earth. The second stage just above it, the white cylinder, and then above that will be the Dragon trunk and the capsule. Now currently the second stage is also loading fuel with RP1. That's about 8% full right now. We are loading liquid oxygen on the first stage. The second stage liquid oxygen load will begin at T-minus 16.5 minutes if the weather cooperates. So LOX loading will then continue on both the first and second stage until the last few minutes of the countdown. Helium loading is also underway into pressure vessels on the second stage. We use that to pressurize the tanks in flight as the propellant is being pulled out by the Merlin turbopumps. Dragon on board the spacecraft. You can see the astronauts are monitoring systems while propellant is loaded into the Falcon 9. Now when we
Stage 1
flew
cryo-helium load
the
has
first
started.
demo flight last year and then the in-flight escape test earlier this year, the sounds inside the Dragon capsule were recorded. So as part of the training, the sounds of the propellant loading were played back to acclimate the crew to what they're experiencing now. I'm listening to some discussion on one of the back nets, trying to track where we are with the weather criteria. We're just passing another weather gate right now, trying to see whether or not the conditions are go. In certain situations, when the weather is no go, you have to wait 30 minutes, and we are now inside of 30 minutes. But if the cloud moves away, if the conditions improve, we may be able to continue the countdown for another 14 minutes and reassess. So we're waiting to see whether or not we can continue the count. Currently we are. The range, they're ready to support with no problems in the air and the sea space area. But again, the weather, that's the one that's looking bad, and we're going to continue to listen. And as a reminder, today we have an instantaneous launch time. So at this point, if we hear a hold for any reason, we're going to have to stand down and target our backup launch opportunity on May 30th.
For Demo 2, Bob and Doug's flight to station will take about 19 hours, and their journey is fairly similar to the trip our Cargo Dragon makes back and forth to the International Space Station, with two noticeable differences: docking and splashdown.
As we await T-0 in just a little over 28 minutes from now, ground operations teams just doing those final series of system checks, making sure both Dragon and Falcon 9 are ready for liftoff, and really keeping an eye on that weather. You're just continuing to get live views of the teams. You've got Falcon 9 and Dragon on your left, and then Bob and Doug on the right as they prepare at the Cape for liftoff.
Once we hit T0 and a successful launch occurs, we will watch Falcon 9 and Dragon make their ascent until Falcon 9 and first and second stages separate and send Dragon on its way to the space station.
And once it gets on orbit, mission operators will prepare Dragon for on-orbit operations, where Dragon will execute a series of burns that are going to gradually raise its orbit to align more closely with the International Space Station. And you're seeing some of that track in the animation on your screen right now. After doing enough of those burns, they'll put Dragon. Oh, sounds like we're going to get a weather update real quick for the crew.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
Yeah, we're currently just evaluating a constraint on the field mill rule, which looks at lightning energy dissipation. We expect to have an update at about T-20 and more information there on whether we would be able to continue into the prop load or scrub at that time.
Okay, Jay, thanks for the update. We appreciate it.
Copy. So I'll give you some more words in about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we're going to find out in about 6 minutes if we're going to have enough time. And John, I was referring to a couple of those weather situations where we have to have a certain amount of time. In this case, with the field mills, about 15 minutes. So they have until about 16 minutes and 30 seconds to really make sure that we're going to have enough time for that to dissipate. So we're going to be listening for that weather update in just a couple of minutes, but it is going to be a pretty interesting trip uphill for them once they actually get on orbit.
And a very exciting countdown with 6 minutes to figure out if we are launching today. But targeting back to what we were talking about, next Dragon will make its approach and actually dock with the space station. This is a very different process from what we've seen with Dragon cargo deliveries in the past, which used a process called berthing. Now, berthing requires a spacecraft to approach the station and then stop so a crew member can maneuver the station's robotic arm to capture the spacecraft. Docking on this version of Dragon can be done autonomously.
Stage 2 cryo-helium load started.
Autonomously with no crew aboard the station. It's typically a faster process, both when arriving and leaving, but it does still require pinpoint accuracy to approach safely.
Once captured, a spacecraft then gets attached to a common berthing mechanism. It's the same type of port that we use to connect each of the modules together on board station. It's a little bit slower process than docking, but the hatches are significantly larger than docking ports, which makes them perfect for bringing up large cargo items.
Dragon will spend up to 120 days docked before preparing to return home. Following successful completion of Dragon's test objectives and cargo loading operations, the crew will close out the cabin, perform final system checks, and configure the vehicle for undocking. Once the automated undocking sequence is complete, Dragon will complete 2 departure burns using its Draco engines, pushing it away from the space station.
And then after Dragon departs the station, it's ready for its trip home.
I didn't miss that exciting period, no.
Entry and landing, and a number of other operations. If you're looking at this animation, it might look like we're playing the one we played originally in reverse, because that's kind of how it goes, but just a little bit quicker.
I got a cookie and I got tea.
All of the operations following the final departure maneuver will include
winning,
things like trunk separation, closing that nose cone again, executing a deorbit burn, and once they're inside the atmosphere, deploying
helps me not go for smoke every 2 minutes.
Main parachutes, and then finally splashing down off the Florida coast, at which teams will move in, get Bob and Doug up out of the water, and get them out of the capsule once they're on the boat. So we have 4 minutes now until we get that next expected weather update. Let's go down now to the team.
Oh, so they're actually
Kennedy.
not going to the ISS today.
All right, thanks.
No, they are.
If you're just joining us, we are now
I think he was talking about the abort system.
23 minutes and 48 seconds. From the first launch of astronauts to the International Space Station from U.S. soil in 9 years. We're going to find out in less than 4 minutes if the weather looks good for that. And this will mark the beginning of a new era where more people will be able to fly to space than ever before. Well, in fact, we took a poll a little bit earlier to ask you if you had the opportunity to fly to space, would you go?
Tomorrow,
86% of those of you watching answered that you would go to space.
Up all night to watch that.
Oh, Jesus, no, neither will I.
I think, realizing that you don't have to be a military military astronaut
like,
or a NASA astronaut to fly in space.
He's cooking
you
tonight.
can be a regular civilian,
like,
just a regular person going up to space on a SpaceX type rocket. So I think
they have to orbit the Earth together.
Yeah, and we are really thrilled to see all the folks watching along online. I know we certainly hope
as an oscillation
that
rather
this is
than
a
a
go,
circular
but
orbit,
again,
and then it
hear
requires
a little bit of a weather update in less than 3 minutes
maybe
now.
I don't know the
Leland,
exact number, but just theoretically say 50 rotations of the Earth.
They've come,
in order for them to
all the way
actually
down the count. What do you think Bob and
interject,
Doug are thinking about right now?
Or to have that.
We on SES-129, we were having some weather problems, and I think we were getting close to the countdown, and then it seemed like the sky just cleared up right above our heads. We saw it, and we knew where we were going. And we always know that you can have any types of delays, fuel prop delays, all kinds of things that can happen. But we've trained over and over and over again for these types of scenarios, and so
I don't want to miss
we want to be safe. We want to be safe for our families, and
we'll, 30 minutes
do
before
this another day if it doesn't work with the weather.
I know that John I always says weather. It's that thing that everybody talks about.
Maybe less
no
than 30, but in general, roughly 30.
It is this interesting thing of just
enough time to go get a beer.
To Mother Earth, she's going to tell us if we can go or not today.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if it happens, I mean, look at it this way: Bob and Doug got one really great rehearsal in, right?
I fucking better happen today.
Practice and practice and practice. Yes.
So again, we're less than 2 minutes now from that weather update that is going to go directly to Bob and Doug, and we will quiet down so we can listen in for that, because I know we can't wait to find out what that is, and those of you watching that have been following along, we are eagerly awaiting to hear whether the weather is going to be a showstopper today.
And
that's a lot. Probably like majority of your viewership.
No, it's not, you dick. So let's
I'll give you mod if you watch me.
These clouds can seem really deceiving at times, right? You see the blue skies peeking through, and you think everything's fine, but
let me go find this
you just don't know. That's why we have those launch weather officers.
Absolutely, and I know we've talked about it before, but it's not just the weather in Florida that they're looking at. They've got to look at weather downrange. If they were to have an abort in flight and they needed to come down somewhere in the ocean. They need to consider what the weather's like out there, because recovery teams have to go out and get them in a situation like that. So there's so many variables, and that's why not just
good. Now
with this flight, but with every human space flight we've had in the past, there's always a very good chance of a scrub, because
keep it current.
Yeah, review.
Because you do have so much criteria that you have to meet. And we're going to listen in now. We're just seconds away from a weather update.
Stage 2, RP1 load complete.
Right, then we have Bandit. So you know who Bandit is. With Kane 360. You know who he is. An old guy that I used to play with. Kane is a sound lad. Then Emerald is an old thing I used to do, so that can go actually, because I don't log into that Twitch account anymore, so that's fine.
Welcome to our new...
That is liquid oxygen you see venting off the rocket. That's completely normal and expected.
Harrison Gaming.
You're standing by for a weather update.
Yeah, I will at some stage.
Unless you can give us another 10 minutes, I don't think we're going to get there with any of the rules today.
Oh, no!
10 minutes.
I mean, another 10 minutes past T0.
Oh,
16:45 local. I think we'll probably be clear on all the rules, but not quite going to make it for this.
No.
Okay. We're going to check back in with you in about 2 minutes, and then I'll call it up at about 17 minutes.
They're scrubbing.
Okay.
Oh, you fucking dickhead!
We're starting to count down, but we still have one above 2,000. So if that gets below...
And now they're after muting it because fucking they're actually about to say no and be a buzzkill. Who's that now?
And that didn't sound great right there. That was the weather net going out, but we're still standing by for a final decision.
You know?
It's something to do with like chills, and they have to chill the engine and all that. Like, it's a very kind of orchestrated procedure that they go through. Yeah, and then restream, but yeah, no, that's fine. I took off like 3 or 4, not that many. Man, this is fucking shit.
There's your super anticlimactic
fucking dickheads
stream.
What a why?
Now we get to look at the building.
And we're going to continue to listen in for an update, but in the meantime, we're going to go over to John
like,
Innsbrucker at
nobody
SpaceX
look at the rocket.
California.
Nobody look at the rocket. The lad's quietly getting out of it. Like.
And Dragon SpaceX on weather.
And they're just like, oh, this.
Minus 18 minutes and counting.
LD is
we are still red
some
on weather.
Expect an update from LD.
We're waiting in about.
And then the astronauts are like, this is a load of my bollocks. I've been sitting in this thing for the last 2 fucking hours, and now I'm gonna have to get back out again. Fuck off.
The weather officer was not optimistic that the weather would clear up that rapidly. We did hear the launch director, Mike Taylor, joke that, you know, if we could move 10 more minutes past the T0, weather conditions may improve, but Mike was not able to do that. We have an instantaneous window today. So at 17 minutes, we want to make that call because shortly after that, we will begin loading liquid oxygen onto the second stage. So if we're not going to have the opportunity to launch, if the clock's going to run out,
continue to violate a couple different weather rules that we now do not expect to clear in time to allow for launch today.
DLCs and
go ahead and today's launch attempt, launch control, go ahead and the launch auto sequence and proceed into the launch abort auto sequence, please.
Oh, you buzzkill motherfuckers.
And Dragon SpaceX, unfortunately, we are not going to launch today. You are go for 5.100 launch scrub.
Oh my god.
5.100. It was a good effort by the teams, and we understand, and we'll meet you there.
He's saying that, right? But in his head, he's going, "You fucking
cunt."
We've
heard the call from the crew. They have been informed. Launch director Mike
Taylor, that's the end of that fucking stream. So listen,
scrub for the
thanks
day,
guys. Next time,
we got the feedback
hopefully this
when
will go.
The Dragon team informed Bob and Doug.
Bastard.
They said we gave it a good try.